we found the smoke. Now we're looking for the fire. We drilled 10 holes, 1,700 meters on that. We got some extremely good results on copper and gold. Everything is telling us we are very, very close.
Hello and welcome to viewers tuning into Assay TV. We're joining Avidian Gold again, who are exploring multiple precious and critical metals assets situated across North America. And I'm delighted to be catching up again with CEO Steve Roebuck. Welcome again, Steve.
Hi, Adam. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. It's a really timely occasion to be catching up with you. Last we spoke, you're exploring new terrain in Alaska, the Golden Zone project. Let's just zoom out and look at some of the milestones for Avidian that you've achieved and are working towards this year.
Sure. Last year in 2021, pretty well all of our exploration efforts went towards the Golden Zone project, which is our district scale. It's 125 square kilometers. It's has a indicated and inferred resource of 300,000 ounces of gold, 1.5 million ounces of silver. We didn't drill actually that deposit for expansion, but we looked on extensions away from it. So we engaged in a drill campaign, roughly 3,200 meters, and it was extremely successful. Over January and February of this year, we released the results. We extended the Mayflower Extension Zone approximately 600 meters to the northeast. I think that's fantastic. All the holes are relatively short, so we've outlined a near-surface gold mineralization. What we need to do at some point in time, whether it be this year or next, is come in and drill a little bit deeper and really start to put together a resource expansion on that. And about 5 kilometers to the south, we also explored a project called the Copper King. Really, this is a classic situation, is that we found the smoke. Now we're looking for the fire. We drilled 10 holes, 1,700 meters on that. We got some extremely good results on copper and gold. Everything is telling us we are very, very close, but I think it's just going to need a little bit more work on that. But that's kind of the results for Avidian, and it's in turn, it's a very good. The project at Golden Zone is extremely good. We look to other projects within the company portfolio. So maybe just looking forward, we'll be looking more at Jungo in Nevada. That will be something for 2022. And then again, Amanita, which sits about 5 kilometers south of the Fort Knox Kinross Gold's Fort Knox mine. That is a bit, grade-starved mill. We've got near surface oxide, high grade gold near surface. So we look to do work at Jungo in Nevada and Amanita up in the Fairbanks district. But your question was some of the milestones. So the milestones were absolutely, we did the exploration now around Golden Zone, but a big milestone for the company, and this goes back to last year, we were taking high tide resources public, and that actually happened on February 25th, of 2022. Approximately 1 week ago, we went public. We went public at 15 cents. Interestingly enough, we're trading at 17, 18 cents right now. So we're up a little bit, which is really encouraging. And within high tide, we've got our flagship project is the Labrador West iron ore project. And then just to the south of that, across the border from Labrador into the province of Quebec, is the Lac Pegma copper-nickel-cobalt deposit. So that was a big milestone. And we've been waiting, several years to get this accomplished. And one of the things that we also did, we did a distribution of shares because Avidian Gold was a large shareholder in high tide. We dividend out 9.4 million shares. So that has been well received by the shareholders. Those are some of the key milestones. So looking forward for high tide, it's going to be a very busy year. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, certainly. Let's dig into high tide. So coming back to the CSE listing, this is a great strategy. You got some liquidity that you've managed to bring in there that's going to help with essentially the drilling program?
Yeah, well, automatically we got eyes on the story from all the shareholders within Avidian. So all the thousands now, with their, they've all got a little bit of that, a taste of the high tide and the success that's going on that. And we had financed high tide through Avidian. So we currently have $3 million cash in hand. So in Canada, you can use something called flow-through dollars. So we've got 2 million of flow-through, which is used exclusively for drilling, exploration type related expenses, and then hard dollars, which goes to cover, We're in a situation, we got 6.7 million shares in the company, $3 million cash in hand. We got zero debt. We're permitted and set to drill at Lab West, and that's going to be our immediate focus. So over the last week, I've managed to sign a drilling contract, a helicopter contract, and I've got my geologists all set to go. So everything is lined up. We anticipate beginning to drill the week of April the 4th is really kind of our thumbsuck timeframe. So what's interesting about this, Adam, is that this is something that's hitting the ground running, and then we start to execute as fast as possible. This is not something that's going to take 6 months, 12 months before this, that, and the other. Had an opportunity to secure a drill. And I'll tell you, drills, geologists, and helicopters are as rare as hen's teeth right now. You can't get them. And to be able to get all of that assembled so quickly, Lady Luck was certainly shining on us, and a little bit of planning on our behalf. But yeah, we're in a very good situation.
Yeah, certainly. Indeed, the supply chain challenges roll on into this year. Post-pandemic, we're out of it now, but in most jurisdictions, yet still challenges there. But you've done very well to overcome that. Perhaps another interesting narrative there is iron ore. There's got to be a lot of sentiment for iron ore outside of traditional sources. Now we've got the conflict that's going on with Russia and Ukraine, and we've seen what it's done to the spot price after tailing off quite a lot in 2021, right back up there.
Right. I checked this morning, over $151 for benchmark Fe 62%. You're right. The unfortunate situation in Ukraine. A lot of the iron ore that would be coming out of that region and in Russia, that's offline. It's putting pressure on the rest of the supply chain, so to speak, or the seaborne trade. So yeah, terrible. But here it is. It's, again, this is a bit of a tailwind for a junior exploration company getting up and running. You mentioned 2021. I think iron got way ahead of itself when it ran to $200 to $220 a ton. That was never sustainable. But I think somewhere between 100 and 150, where we currently are, that is sustainable over a long period of time. And this is a situation where I talk about high tide resources located in the Labrador Trough, which that is Canada's Pilbara. But I also add a couple of extra words to it: safe and secure Canada. This is current situation shines a light on some of these things where you are deploying capital. Where do you want to deploy your capital? And certainly companies that have a choice to make on where they want to make that major investment, where they want to put the shovel into the ground and build a new mine. You start to think seriously about that, and you look at Canada and all the things that we've got going for us. Aside from the mosquitoes in the summer and a little bit of winter in the winter, it's a pretty good place to do business and safe and secure. And all the infrastructure is in place in and around Labrador City and Fairmont. There's 4 operating mines currently, including Rio Tinto, Champion, ArcelorMittal, Tacora Resources. Some of these are household names. It attracts a lot of investment and a lot of attention, and it's an incredible place to do business. And what we are at the Labrador West project, we are next in line. There are no projects out there in the hands of a junior that is at this advanced stage that we are where we are right now, and so proximal to that infrastructure. That infrastructure is rail to port capacity, hydroelectric power, workforce, roadways, airport, modern towns. This is everything that you need to succeed in the mining business. My experience going back 10 years in iron ore, I've worked on some projects in remote locations in Nunavut in northern Canada that had absolutely zero infrastructure. And I can tell you that this is a huge advantage, having this as close as we do, within several kilometers. That's a game changer for everybody. So we're in a very good position with that. So the plan is that get drilling in April. And then from April, we drill somewhere between 6 to 8 holes. I just went back up just for a second. This is an advanced stage project. This actually belonged to Rio Tinto, but over time and with the crash of iron ore back to $40 back in 2014, 15, 16, etc., the project was out of favor. And I ended up doing a deal with Altius, and they are one of our partners on this project. It had 18 drill holes, 4,200 meters. In 2020, I drilled 4 more holes. So there's a lot of information. There's 22 drill holes, 5,200 meters. It's not like I'm guessing where to drill next. It's just a matter of closing the gap between some fairly far spaced holes, 300 meters apart. If I want to bring it into an inferred resource, I need to center that. So it's just strategically placing between 6 to 8 drill holes. And then getting a lot of more confidence on the geological model, and then being able to pull together a resource. Our target is certainly achievable at about 500 million tons of inferred to begin with. I think that we might be able to push that envelope to 6, maybe 7, who knows. And from that point, we will daylight a maiden resource in an established mining camp. And then we immediately switch to a PEA level study. And I hope to have all of these things either accomplished or underway by the time the calendar rolls over to 2023. So that's not a lot of time. And again, this is a process that we're going to move quickly on. So that's, we're in a really good position.
Yeah, it's excellent. 6 to 8 holes by the end of the year. And it's great what you've described around the size of the resource there, with some historical data to use as a platform to go from. So expecting that to move fast.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's switch to Lac Pegma and your cobalt copper asset there. What's the status there, and what's the plan?
Well, because of we're going all in right off the bat on the Lab West and the iron ore. So we'll see that through, but at some point in time, the drill core has been logged, it's been sampled, it's been put in a bag, and it goes into the queue at the assay office. Hopefully by starting in April and May, we get to the assay office before everybody else. So, our turnaround time is not going to be too long. But during that bit of that downtime, so to speak, when we're not modeling the iron resource, that's an opportunity for us to get back out to Lac Pegma. And the last year we did airborne mag EM survey. We had boots on the ground on 2 separate occasions prospecting. We recovered the historic drill core from the Lac Pegma deposit, and we brought it back to our core shack in Labrador City. We relogged it, we resampled it. So there's great information that we already know. And this is one of the key things, that the geophysics point picked up some really interesting geophysical anomalies that have never been drill tested or investigated. And some of the prospecting, we found other units that had never been recognized. So there's quite a bit of interesting groundwork that we still can do. But when we step back and look at the deposit itself, there's 62 holes, I do believe, have been put into it. It's got a fair number of holes, but one thing that pops up right away was that none of the holes are deep. Everything, drilled through the ore zone, drilled a couple of meters into surrounding country rock, and never drilled any deeper. So there's no drill holes at depth. We've never found the source. There's no place on the project that this is the source of this, a chamber at depth. If we can track it down and chase it to depth, that could be an absolute game changer for us. So there's still a little bit of work that needs to be done and on this. But I would say that, look for something summer 22, I'm talking about July, August, September, etc. And then before we get back at it and get some more work done. But the focus starts off at Pegma, at Lab West on the iron ore, and over the summer shifts to Pegma. And again, it's got a non-43-101 compliant mineral reserve, as it was referred to in 1996, of 2 million tons of 0.62 copper, 0.34 nickel, and 0.03 cobalt. 100 meters north of that, there's 13 drill holes put in, and they outlined a very, very interesting 500,000 tons of 2% zinc, and it's open in all directions. That's a bit of a mystery what this is doing right there, but again, that's a target certainly worth following up. And we've talked about the price of iron, over $151 for benchmark Fe, 62%. Take a look what's going on with copper and nickel right now. I mean, boy, oh boy, these, again, with the conflict with Russia, they supply a lot of the world's copper and nickel. So again, those commodity prices are surging right now. So in high tide, you're getting an incredible mix of commodities in demand. Maybe it's a step away from, your golds. And this is exactly what we did. When we spun high tide out of Avidian, we wanted to create two entities, two separate and distinct entities. One is precious metals in the United States, and the other is essentially your base metals, element 26 through 30 on the periodic table of copper, nickel, cobalt, zinc, and iron. So this is, diversity within your portfolio, and the people who were at the time shareholders of Avidian receive that free dividend share. But there's an ample opportunity right now. We're still trading, at a low dollar value. I think 17, 18 cents, and there's going to be so much news flow coming forward. So it's certainly worth it to everybody to take a harder look at high tide and see if this is a company that you'd be interested in investigating further.
Yeah, absolutely. And just on that note, you'll be picking up doing some more road shows and doing a bit more traveling now that
absolutely
the borders are opening up and people are jumping back on trains again. We have one-to-one in Las Vegas coming up at the end of the month. I believe you're attending.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be in Las Vegas one-to-one with Avidian Gold, and that's at the end of March, sometime in June. I think early to mid-June, we'll be in New York City with Avidian Gold. Yeah, there's so much going on right now. It's a very exciting time for these companies.
Yep, superb. Okay, Steve, thanks very much for sharing updates on multiple projects. It's really interesting to get a steer on the diversity and optionality that's available for investors who are interested in these kinds of assets. So we look forward to catching up with you later in the year to see how the drilling's going.
Look forward to it too as well. Bye-bye. Thank you.